Looking sharp, Len. Who's the lucky lady?
I'm going to the bank to discuss a mortgage.
See, you need a loan, you put on a suit, you go crawling to the bank. This is how I dress to get a mortgage. I just go to Lending Tree. I calculate how much home I can afford. I get multiple offers to compare side by side. And the best part is, the banks come
This is CNN Breaking News.
Good morning. I'm Brandon Martinez, and we have breaking news coming out of New York City regarding a major drop in stocks. Reporting live at the New York Stock Exchange is Paget Thomas. Paget?
Thank you, Brandon. I'm outside the New York Stock Exchange where, as you can hear behind me, the area is in chaos. Since this morning, the Dow Jones has dropped by almost 3,000 points, a 15% drop. We haven't seen the likes of this since Black Monday in 1987. People are panicking over this issue, fearing that the drop in stocks may lead to another recession. While the federal government has urged the public to remain calm, several rallies have formed outside spontaneously in response to the news. Multiple units of the NYPD have arrived to prevent a riot, but the crowd appears to be peaceful, shouting anti-capitalist slogans and demanding economic reform. Similar rallies have formed near the White House. However, even if the protests remain under control, and the stock market drop only amounts to a flash crash, and not a recession as some people have feared, the people's faith has been greatly shaken.
Although a trading curb has been established by the New York Stock Exchange, many fear that once trading has resumed, the drop will continue, thanks to the failures of 3 American banks in the Pacific Northwest. In economic news, more trouble appears to be awaiting the American economy. While stocks have stabilized from their drop in October last year, according to a Gallup poll, no jobs were added in March, and unemployment has increased to 12%, a far cry from the 9.1% reported at the beginning of March. This news has sparked new rallies, and while these rallies have been, like before, peaceful, many experts are doubting as to whether these new rallies will be as peaceful as the ones conducted during the stock market crash last year. In other economic news, General Motors today admitted that
Big day?
The usual. Moved some new cars. Hauled a bunch of steel. Kept the supermarket shelves stocked. Made sure everyone got their latest gadgets. What's up for the next shift?
Nothing much. Just keeping the lights on.
Nice.
Doing the big things that move an economy.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Portland Police Department. Mass rioting is currently taking place in the city of Portland. Since 8:10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Portland Police Department has reported civilians on the streets causing civil unrest and causing damage to property and injuries. The Portland Police Department is attempting to handle the situation. However, the Portland Police Department and the City of Portland is requesting that all Portland and Gresham residents stay at home for the rest of the day and to avoid traveling in the streets. It may become necessary to issue a curfew, and martial law may be declared if the situation worsens. Do not participate in the riots. Doing so will put your life at risk, and you will be arrested. Due to the overwhelming number of 911 calls entering the 911 call center, it is asked that you refrain from calling 911 unless you have an actual emergency. Refer to local cable outlets for more news on this developing situation.
We're going to interrupt normal programming to bring you a live report from downtown Akron, where our reporter on the scene, Bryce Parker, is awaiting. Bryce.
I'm outside the University of Akron, where mass riots are currently taking place. As you can hear behind me, the crowd is incredibly riled up and is practically laying waste to everything in sight. I've taken shelter inside the 5th floor of an apartment building near the University of Akron, but I'm not sure how safe I am at the moment. Riot police are currently on site, but I'm not sure how they're going to hold back the mob of people marching down Market Street.
Can you describe the attitude of the rioters?
From what I've seen, it's almost as if they're out for blood. I've seen them attempt to attack riot police with tear gas and rocks. They're clearly angry about the unemployment rate, among other things. Throughout the rioting, I've heard anti-capitalist slogans and other economic reform shouts, but what was originally meant to be a peaceful rally has degenerated into an absolute travesty, Bob.
Have there been any injuries?
Bob, I've seen at least 6 ambulances pull up alongside the apartment building, and from what I've heard, more are on the way. The paramedics here are treating both rioters and policemen alike down in the lobby of the apartment building.
There are rumors going around that the Ohio National Guard is going to be called in. Can you confirm that?
I've heard no rumors so far regarding that, but I wouldn't be surprised if the National Guard were to be called in. This is far worse than the riots and protests that occurred after the election of President Trump almost 2 years ago, and the Freddie Gray riot in Baltimore back in 2015. To put it simply, I'm not going to stay for much longer.
Bryce, are you okay? It sounds like the rioting is getting closer.
There are approximately 2 squads of National Guard personnel in riot gear preparing to join the riot police. And it looks like they're just about to push into the crowd. Scratch that, they've gone into the crowd now. This is quite a spectacle. I'm not staying alone. This is insane.
Seriously, Bryce, get out of there. There's no use for you staying there. I can barely hear you. Get out. Just get out of there.
This is just pandemonium. The rioters are they're still there. I've seen some Molotovs in the form of the rioters, and to my right I see. Is that a riot truck with a water cannon?
Bryce, are you still there? We seem to have lost contact with our reporter, but we'll try to get the connection back as soon as.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Akron Police Department. Mass rioting is continuing to take place in the city of Akron and surrounding areas. Due to the situation facing the Akron Police Department, the Ohio National Guard has been called in to aid the Akron Police Department in a mutual assistance operation to restore law and order and protect life and property. Due to the civil unrest in the Akron area, all Akron residents are ordered to shelter in place and avoid traveling. If you have a medical emergency that requires you to travel, dial 911 for assistance by city or military personnel. Otherwise, remain at home and do not travel. If you are found traveling outdoors without a valid reason, you will be questioned and searched. Most importantly, do not participate in the riots. Repeat, do not participate in the riots. Doing so will put your life at risk, and you will be arrested. This message will repeat in 10 minutes.
It's early May, and an ugly storm is bearing down on Oklahoma City. In times like these, people turn to their TV weather forecasters, especially local legend Gary England.
Of significant tornado activity. Hey, talk to me.
From the control room,
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Metropolitan Police Department, the Virginia National Guard, and the Maryland National Guard. Mass rioting is currently taking place in the District of Columbia and surrounding areas. Due to the situation facing the Metropolitan Police Department, the Virginia and Ohio National Guard has been called in to aid the Metropolitan Police Department in a mutual assistance operation to restore law and order and to protect life and property. Due to the civil unrest in the Washington, D.C. area, all District of Columbia residents are ordered to shelter in place and avoid traveling. If you have a medical emergency that requires you to travel, dial 911 for assistance by city or military personnel. Otherwise, remain at home and do not travel. If you are found traveling outdoors without a valid reason, you will be questioned and searched. Most importantly, do not participate in the riots. Repeat, do not participate in the riots. Doing so will put your life at risk, and you will be arrested. In addition to the shelter-in-place instruction, martial law has been declared throughout the Mideast and the Washington, D.C. area until further notice. Repeating, martial law has been declared in the District of Columbia and the Mideast. This message will repeat in 2 minutes. Normal programming will now cease. Tune to 1610 a.m. for further information regarding the riots. This is an administrative message from the state of Pennsylvania. All clear. The rioting that prompted the shelter-in-place warning in the martial law declaration has ceased in the state of Pennsylvania. Repeating, the rioting that prompted the shelter-in-place warning has ceased in the state of Pennsylvania. It is now safe to leave your home. However, keep in mind that while the shelter-in-place warning has been rescinded, and martial law has ended in the state of Pennsylvania, a 10 p.m. curfew remains in effect for the entire state of Pennsylvania until further notice. If you are found outside after this curfew, you will be arrested. This concludes operations of the emergency alert system. Normal programming will now resume.